Yeah. What happens when you hit the magic button? All kinds of things. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I was just kind of looking to see who I had first on my list of readers to see who was here. I have Denise and Susan and Elizabeth.
So that's 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, they're all here. So yeah, we'll do that. Denise, you ready to go first?
I am. I've not done a Conroy open mic before.
All right. Well, I think.
Welcome.
All right. Well, if you want to hit the magic button, we'll say hello to the world.
We are now live on Facebook, so you can kick it off whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Welcome, everybody, to our open mic, the Pat Conroy Center. I'm Brooke, the Communications and Events Coordinator. Also, thank you to the South Carolina Writers Association in partnership with our monthly open mic. And we're going to get started right now. And we have Denise Spencer starting us off. Denise, what are you going to be reading tonight?
Thank you. If there's time, I have 2 short poems, but I'll start with one that is taken from. I want to show you my painting. I know a lot of people are acquainted with this beautiful painting. It's inspired me to write a poem. It's called Blue Monday, and it's by Annie Lee. So I hope you can see that piece. And my poem is called Tired to the Bone. Sitting on the edge of the bed, she looked down at her swollen feet. Her white nightgown hung off her shoulder like a partially broken willow branch. She really didn't care. The grandbabies were finally settled in for the night. A smiling photo on their bedroom wall held vigil over their dreams. The image was of a time before eyes swollen shut and ears leaking blood awaited the justice that would never come. 400 years of exhaustion sat heavy on her slender frame as a yoke on oxen. Could she muster the energy to swing her long legs onto the bed? Could she shut out the routine of morning braids and sack lunches and bus stop hovering so sleep would come? Would the patchwork quilt of many blues become the velvet swaddle she deserved? She folded her hands on her lap, closed her eyes, dropped her head, and started, as always, Lord Jesus, help me. I'm tired to the bone.
Very nice.
So that was great, Denise. You're gonna go ahead. You're gonna read a second one, right?
I will if you have the time. It's no longer the other one. Yeah. Okay, thank you. This was a little different. It's called Humble Pie. She said, throw it away, start again. This refrain was taking its toll. I tapped the dough bits off the pin and put more shortening in the bowl. Aged 7 or 8, with apron tied, I stood on a kitchen stool. Saturday mornings were set aside for pastry making school. For the woman in my mother's line, hands covered in flour dust, all learned that nothing was more sublime than a perfectly flaky crust. One must not overwork the dough, as that assures it will be tough. To roll it more than once, you know, is once more than enough. I tried again and then again till Mom was satisfied. The final test, the family's men must judge my work with pride. Fruit or nut, meringue or cream, savory or sweet, my progress caused my dad to beam and look forward to the treat. While not the skill that mattered most, I cannot tell a lie, I became a real sought-after host because of Humble Pie. Thank you.
Great title, too. I love that title.
Yeah.
Thank you for both of those. Okay, Susan.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Tell us what you're reading.
Well, this is a couple pieces from my African journey. which is called Among Men. November 14th, 2008. Into Africa I fly on a one-way ticket. Journey through 14 countries in 22 months on local transportation. Learn, rest, change. A woman without advantage of youth or money. The journey has many pieces. December 4, 2008. Sousse, summer resort town in Tunisia on the Mediterranean Sea. Hannibal's lair. Fractured sun on gray sea, not azure as advertised on postcards and half-empty racks around town. The bad weather matches my mood. Cloaked in my barnoose, I scout the medieval castle on a bluff above the sea. Twist through alleyway warrens. Merchants mutter through broken bits of light. La femme barnoose, woman in a man's cloak. Uneven rock steps are foot hollowed up the castle wall. I peer down. Fierce high tide breaks against stone blocks, plows the wide gray beach. I imagine General Hannibal Barca on the beach, one of the greatest military commanders in history. His presence gives color to the gloomy day. Ancient Sousse was his homeland and last military base. Hannibal walks the beach of his homeland, planning never before strategy to thunder his final battle. Warfare sings in my head. 80 elephants trumpet, metals clash, flesh burns, crackles. My fantasized clamor is overpowered by the crashing tides below. Whipping winds carry away the ancient world of Hannibal. I wrap my woolly cloak tighter, climb down to safer ground. Lunch on escargot at a cheap French restaurant surrounded by nameless cats. December 15th, Sousse. December 15th, by the sea. Sun cracks clouds, warm breezes barely breathe. Sun color shifts from gray to green. I walk the empty beach, hold my black skirt above the ankles. White sand squishes between my toes. I sit on a lone bench. Gull wings drum, circle the sea. I lean back, close eyes. Sunbeams fill my head. A voice dips into my bright dream. We are blessed with warmth today. My eyes open on a small Englishman in fine tweeds sitting at the opposite end of the bench. I join his easy tenor. Yes, beautiful. We pass time with pleasant bits of conversation. He motions to a round glass building on the knoll right behind us. Chirps through snowy mustache. May I buy you tea? Red tea is served in black iron pots at our small table. Silver cups, almond baklava, lace napkin, melody of sitar, flute stirs the air. My head moves in a slow circle. All tables are occupied. Tweedy old gents accompanied by young women with darting pink tongues that hastily lap the tea. Couples disappear through the heavily curtained archway. Similar twosomes replace them at the table. The old Englishman with me strokes his mustache, grins scrappily. Minutes pass. I stand up. A goofy grin opens on my face. I bid the little man adieu. And
thanks, Susan. Very, very descriptive, as usual. I like the 80 elephants trumpet and the nameless cats.
Well, Hannibal, he was something. He was born in Tunisia. He was born right there.
Yes, very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, it's like Elizabeth is up.
Good evening. How are you? I have just a quick public service announcement for the Island Writers Network. We are going to start live open mics. You are all invited. I hope you will come. Just, I'd like to get a head count ahead of time, so just let me know you're coming. You can show up and surprise us, but better head count I have, the better to do. It will be June 30th, 6 p.m. Other Sisters Wine Bar in Shelter Cove on Hilton Head Island. So I hope you'll be there. It is because of this group that I found out about this. So I thought it appropriate that I bring this tonight. I just got this week, and Catfish Stew is, I'm having a really lovely read. Two people that I hear regularly here, and Jane is present at the moment, are in this. And it's a lovely anthology of poetry and prose, fiction and nonfiction. It's been a lovely read. There are photographs. And it's all South Carolina Writers Association stuff. And I did not really know about that organization until I met all of you, and you kept telling me that I should be involved. And I would like to read you the poem that's in there that is from me. The Sound of Water. I listen at lower falls today, a rush of autumn leaves, a steady ocean surf breaking over a distant reef. And I hear his voice in a whisper. At upper falls, he roars, a concerto in B flat, soft breeze, and songbirds falling into harmony. A hissing mist rises above. Percussion. What aria does he sing to me in his crystalline tenor? That voice shakes me still. A rumbling love song, just to me. At Fish Creek water laps, soft yet insistent, a constant humming, come to me. Sirens may lure and kill, but the danger is in his song, inside the water. Music calling me back. The pull, as magnetic as the moon's, plays everywhere.
Oh.
Beautiful, Elizabeth.
Very good.
Oh, the magnetic is the moon's. It's beautiful. Thanks. Did you say something, Liz? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I heard you trying to say something. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I think I was supposed to let the next three know ahead of time, but I did not. So surprise. It's Barry, Jackie, and Catherine, who is not here. So we will have Jane instead. So Barry, Jackie, and Jane. So Barry, you're next.
Okay, I am surprised. Brought a couple of poems from my new, this never shows up on camera very well, but this is my new poetry collection that's out called Maybe Today. Can you see that? No.
There we go.
Yeah, you can. Okay. Wait, I get my hand off my name. Poems by Barry Dixon. And it was released in April from Cherry Grove Collections. And I thought for the fun of it tonight, I would do a couple of poems about poetry, Ars Poetica. And one is a poem about the use of humor in poems, and the other is a humorous poem. So here we go. The first one, I don't know if you know, in New York City, the 92nd Street Y is the center of cultural life. They have all kinds of interviews and famous people and stuff. This poem is called At the 92nd Street Y. The college kid approaches the mic and asks the poet laureate, "Sir, when you write humorous verse, don't you do so at the risk of sacrificing depth?" But what could be deeper than humor? Does a belly laugh come from a shallower place than a tear? Okay. That was my answer to the question that the kid asked. But Billy Collins' answer, who was the poet laureate, his answer was, who cares about depth? It is. He said that. He said, who cares about depth? So here's a poem that does kind of use humor. Now, it's an interesting poem because people, when they read it, they say, oh, okay, that's fine. What else you got? But when they hear it out loud, it has a much different reaction. And remember, poetry was originally to be read out loud. That's how it was created. So we've all seen the TV commercials where it's about pharmaceuticals. You can't turn your TV on without a pharmaceutical ad these days. So it inspired me one day to write this poem called Prescription. Feeling a pain deep inside or occasional emptiness, consider taking poetry. Those who are pregnant or could become pregnant should read poetry with caution. Poetry can cause you to do things that might make you pregnant. Poetry can alter the shape of your heart. In some cases, successfully publishing poetry has caused swelling of the head. Poetry makes people see things that aren't really there. It can cause drowsiness, and reactions to certain poetry have been misdiagnosed as narcolepsy. Poetry has been linked to mood swings, weeping to fits of laughter. Do not mix poetry with alcohol. The poet is taking care of that. Certain people have severe reactions to poetry. In critics, for example, it can provoke nastiness and impaired judgment. Cases of Tourette's have been reported. Readers blurting out, huh? Or, what the hell does that mean? If poetry results in an erection lasting more than 4 hours, consult a hot English teacher. Ask your doctor if poetry is right for you. Thank you.
Love that poem, Barry.
Thank you.
I gotta say, I've heard that poem probably like 15 times. It just never gets old.
Thanks.
I love
Great.
things.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, Jackie. You're here. Yep. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I wanted to share a poem today from this April's Poem a Day Challenge. I try to do that every year, and I end up with a lot of writing, whether good or not. But this time I'm reading Anna Akhmatova, Russian poet, and the prompt was to have a conversation with another poet. So I ended up really not having a conversation with her, but she and I were both having a conversation with a muse. So I wanted to read first her poem that inspired mine, and it's just 2 stanzas called Muse. When at night I wait for her to come, life, it seems, hangs by a single strand. What are glory, youth, freedom, in comparison with the dear welcome guest, flute in hand? She enters now, pushing her veil aside. She stares through me with her attentiveness. I question her, and were you Dante's guide, dictating the inferno? She answers yes. So my poem is also called Muse, and of course it has an epigraph by Anna Akhmatova. When at night I wait for her to come, life, it seems, hangs by a single thread. Anna Akhmatova, 1924. 1. The Russian poet asks, were you Dante's guide dictating the inferno? A veiled muse, flute in hand, answers yes. 2. So muse, do you intend to put me through hell, even though you guide me with your flute song, away from this night of emptiness? Like the Russian poet, I question the muse and hear yes. So from the dark, sleepless night, I follow the tones in the hall ahead, echoes from the hard walls of the passageway, Wisps of veil float and touch my face. Where are you going, Muse? I cannot see my way. Only listen, she says. First I hear a word, then two, a chant from an ancient cave, a child's cry, a woman's voice articulating her joys, her sorrows, a song melodious and discordant. Running breathlessly, I struggle to keep up with the muse, but she disappears. Only overtones of the flute linger until the hall falls silent. Insomnia returns. I wait for her again in the empty night.
Wow, what a surprise. Wow,
Thank you.
that was delightful.
You're a flautist.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a
love it.
surprise. That was awesome. Thank you, Jackie.
The muse is close by.
Yeah. All right, looks like we have, I guess Arlo's going to introduce the next person. I don't know if y'all heard that, but Jane. Yeah, he just said Jane's next. So sorry. We've missed you. So tell us what you'll be reading tonight.
Tonight's a little to go from the beautiful to the sublime to the ridiculous. Tonight's a little short story called Mortification of the Flesh, or Day One at Our Lady of the Perpetual Kneeler. Okay. How my mother must hate me, I thought, facing backwards on my knees on the hard, bare wood of the combination desk chair. I could see red maple leaves dancing and twirling outside the classroom windows. Their tumbling free falls abetted my self-pity. Truly, truly hate me. Why would she send me to such a place where they make you kneel? I snuck a peek at the wall clock for 16 minutes on hard wood with no sign of relief. The recited rosary was a rebroadcast over the PA system, led by a cardinal whose voice sounded like the dry bleating of a lamb. He droned to a close 4 interminable minutes later, and my classmates, barely teenagers, lumbered off their wooden chairs, moaning and stamping their feet on the floor to get blood flowing again. Lorna, an obese 14-year-old, got stuck between the desk and the chair during her attempted dismount. She had neither the flexibility nor the slim hips required to extricate herself from the unnatural position. She wriggled and mewled and looked wretched until the nun swished up the aisle to her aid. Once pried loose, she was forced to endure the nun's scathing words. "You might think about mortifying your flesh for the Lord and eating less, miss. And wash that uniform blouse before you come back tomorrow." "Yes, sir." "Yes, who?" "Yes, sister." Lorna dropped her head on her ample chest, turned around and sat with a thud while the class averted its collective eyes. Hoo boy, this was going to be a long year. Technique number 1, discomfort. Technique number 2, humiliation. I'm beginning to get the deal. I had not begun to imagine the rest of what was in store, but was already building a campaign to lobby my parents for release. My strategy would be simple. Number 1, divide and conquer. Number 2, appeal to their pity. I put my plan into motion that Friday afternoon. I dragged myself into the house, dropped my book bag on the floor, flopped into a kitchen chair, and cradled my head on my arms on the table. Forcing myself to think of the previous 5 mornings' torture by kneeling, I worked up a convincing round of tears. Soon I was blubbering so hard I couldn't be understood. My mother patted me on the shoulder, turned the heat down under a pot of stew, and left the room. I followed her to the den. She sat in a comfortable armchair, flipping through an issue of Better Homes and Gardens. "Mom," I wailed, "I can't go back to that school. They made us kneel on wood." She lowered the magazine and delivered a flurry of her best small jabs. She was the world's champ at wearing me down. "You'll have to, honey. We paid for the year and there are no refunds. Your father worked overtime all year to send you to that school. This school is your best chance to get a scholarship to a good college. It's all for your future. Would you like to throw that gift back in your father's face? I know I don't want to be the one to tell him you're so ungrateful. Besides, your knees are 14 years old. They're still under warranty." My ears rang and I think my life flashed before my eyes. She resumed reading an article on raised gardens, then looked up at me, circling for the knockout. "Oh, did you happen to notice the garden I put in the backyard and tended all summer? And all the fresh and canned vegetables we've been eating? You're welcome. That was one of my contributions to afford your education, dear." My head swam and I prayed for the end of the round. Mom kept jabbing. "Oh, and I'm also getting very good on the sewing machine your grandmother left me, so I can make clothes for us." "But I wear a uniform now, Mom." A hideously ugly one, I thought. "Not on weekends, for parties and church and such." I withdrew to my room, aware I'd been outflanked by a wilier fighter, one whose strategy was the use of guilt and who wielded her weapon like a pro. In my mind, I saw a bright, flashing Jumbotron sign. Guilt beats pitiful. Okay, I thought, it's divide and conquer time. I didn't buy the no refund part, not at all. Trudging upstairs to my closet, I donned my most threadbare bathrobe, washed the lip gloss off my lips, and scrunched my hair into a straggly ponytail. A mirror told me I had perfected the look of a sad girl, daddy's girl. I looked 12 again and was ready to take a run at my father. I loved him very much, and it was mutual. Certain I could get him in my corner with the next round. I waited in my bedroom until I heard the sound of his car pulling up the driveway. He came through the kitchen, then upstairs to their bedroom across the hall to perform the nightly routine that never varied. Shoes off, clunk. The sound of the hangers as he hung up his work uniform. Clang, clangety clang. His ID, lanyard, and hardware dropped on the dresser. Plat, thunk. The groan of the bed as he sat and changed into his sneakers and yard clothes. I scrambled to meet him in the hallway, settling onto the top step and working myself up to a fine sniffle. Smiling to myself when he dropped onto the stair beside me and gave me a hug, I pressed a tissue hard into my eye socket to make sure the tears came. "How was your day, Punkin?" "Mine was awful. Had an armed burglary over at the Plymouth Street Bank. Guy knocked over some poor woman outside when he tried to get away. Her dog bit me." He lifted his pants leg and showed me where the duty sergeant had wrapped his leg in gauze. "But we caught the perp, hauled his miserable butt in, then a lineup on another case, a mountain of paperwork after. My back is killing me, but I gotta go mow the lawn now for supper. Hey, your eyes are kind of red. Drops are in the medicine cabinet. See you downstairs." He kissed the top of my head and limped down the stairs. Mom must have gotten to him first in that unspoken language they had when he bent to give her his hello kiss. I'd seen it before, like an alien mind meld. Information passed between them without a word sometimes. Tonight they'd fended off my best pitiful performance. Divide and conquer wasn't working either. I needed to think. Sometimes expressing my complaints to my diary helped me work things out. Unfolding myself from the top stair, I trudged to my room and sat at the student desk Mom had found at Goodwill. She'd painted it and put new knobs on it, and it looked like something out of a nice home magazine now. I loved sitting there overlooking our small backyard while I worked or studied. As I unlocked my diary drawer, I could see Dad already limping around the lawn's edges, pushing the hand mower. At least half of the scruffy. Am I overtime?
That's it.
Oh, okay. I could already see Dad limping around the lawn's edges, pushing the hand mower. At least half of the scruffy yard had been dug up, hoed, weeded, and planted last spring by Mom, day by day until it was done. I had watched from my perch as she had pulled rocks from the soil and formed an outline of the garden, and as she had driven poles and stretched chicken wire around the entire thing. She'd made a scarecrow by stuffing Dad's oldest clothes. It hung there sad-faced on a wooden cross now, had akimbo and flapping its arms in the breeze, mocking my misery. He seemed to mock me in the same way the crucifix in the back of the classroom did every morning. "You think you're miserable?" it said. I threw the diary back in the drawer, locked it, and went downstairs. Maybe I could help set the table for dinner. Maybe I could still be saved. So that's that.
Thanks, Jane. We've missed you too, hearing you read.
Thank you.
That scarecrow. Yeah. Thank you. Well, looks like we have John and then Catherine.
I'm just listening tonight.
Oh, you're not reading? Okay.
No, nothing to read. Thoroughly enjoying everybody else. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Next
thanks
time.
for listening.
Next
Thanks
time.
for listening.
Very welcome.
Okay. Catherine, it's up to you.
Well, I had something all ready to read, but I think I might have read it last time. So I don't know. It's flash fiction, and oh, what the hey. All right, if y'all can be very honest with me, and if I start reading and you've heard it before, just say, it's from a, oops, hang on, let me get out of here. Or maybe not. There we go. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. This is called Flashback. It takes place in Arcadia, California, June 1997. Austin is my missing piece. He was the boy, the son I'd always wanted. In my mind, he's still here. I can't stop thinking about him, about all he meant to me. No matter how hard I try, I can't fill the space that ought to be him. His gray eyes were like mine. He was lean, lanky, and starting to spurt up like a bean sprout. Ridley's smile is wistful. He sighs. His head drops as if to examine the tone of his dusty boot. Only 38, he's had a full head of white hair since his 20s, like his father. He wouldn't like the comparison. He's perched atop a hay bale on the aisle of his barn of thoroughbreds at Santa Anita Racetrack. His right hand loosely grasps the lead shank of a horse who stands with its left leg in a large bucket of ice. The flashy bay 3-year-old had returned from a morning workout with a swollen knee again, and an hour's worth of ice has always brought the swelling down. Most trainers prefer their grooms to ice a horse, but Ridley always steps up to that task himself. He likes spending quiet time in the barn with his horses. The occasional whinnies, stomps, munching of hay, swishing of tails to swatted flies. They always give him a measure of comfort. The man wipes his eyes with his free left hand, looks up, and continues. I remember that morning. Austin had a school holiday and had come with me to the track. He loved hanging around horses at Santa Anita and at the ranch. That boy had a gift with animals. It was like he and they had known each other from another life before this one. Till that kid started talking, I never believed in that kind of stuff. The wisdom that came from his mouth, even when he was little, no question in my mind, Austin was an old soul, taught me what that means. We'd just eaten blueberry pancakes with butter and maple syrup. He wolfed down a whole stack. I always told him he must have a hollow leg with all the food he stuffed in his skinny 9-year-old body. The memory brings Ridley a small smile. The track kitchen was his favorite place. Other trainers, jocks, owners would stop by our table. Austin couldn't get enough of hearing talk about horses, and he remembered it all, just like his old dad. The smile fades, the man continues. I pulled out onto the highway and stopped the F-150 at a traffic light. He was telling me about the time earlier that morning, how Mac had let him ride the lead pony to the main track and back, line up with all the trainers for a bit, and how much fun he'd had. Those eyes of his just lit up. The light changed to green. I stepped on the gas and was halfway through the intersection when a car ran that light, never even slowed down, and slammed into the passenger side of the truck. Spun us around in the intersection. I'll never forget that sound, loudest I ever heard. When we finally skidded to a stop, I looked over at Austin and reached for him. His blood was everywhere, on the windshield, the dash, the seat. How could a child bleed so much? Tears spring to Ridley's eyes. His head drops again. The horse he's holding gives a gentle snort and shakes its head. Reflex guides the hand up to pat its neck. For a moment, the trainer is quiet and doesn't move. Another swipe at his tanned face. He looks up, clears his throat to release the choke in his voice. I wrapped my arms around him. Hang on, son. Hang on, son. Hang on, son, was all I could say. He opened his eyes. Blood was all over his face. Dad, he said. Those sweet gray eyes were full of pain and looked at me to make it better. Then they closed again, and he was gone, just like that. I couldn't do anything. Tears now stream down Ridley's cheeks, and he lets them. Pain etches his face with grief. The barn is quiet, still as death. The drunk driver landed in jail for the 4th time. He had to pay a big fine, but nothing will ever bring my boy back. Nothing.
Oh, my goodness. That's like a bullet between the eyes.
I hope that's not a reread. I think the dog was trying to tell me it was, but
No, the dog was mourning the situation.
perhaps it was
Appropriate.
Yeah, it was a
story.
yeah, Catherine, it was a reread, but it was just as powerful this time as it was last time.
Good. It may have been on the other open mic. I'm not sure.
What was this one?
Was it this one? Okay.
Yeah, I remember it very well because, it's a very powerful story.
Thank
Well,
you.
I, for one, am glad.
Thank you.
Because I must have missed it. I read it.
All righty. Thank you.
I think maybe we should start open mic just for our dogs.
Just for what?
Just for our dogs.
Byron's been quiet tonight. I just want to say he's been a good boy.
I think Arlo has something to say.
Yeah, maybe.
We missed
Yeah.
the owl, Catherine. I missed the owl.
The owl. I am not
yeah.
at house tonight, or I would have been on the porch just so you could hear the owl again. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Looks like, well, we are moving on now to our featured reader and writer. We have Martha Weeks, but also known as she writes under MZ Thwaite. So she grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and is a graduate of the University of Georgia. She is the author of the Tidewater series of novels, Tidewater Rip 2015 and Tidewater Hit 2017, and the newly published Tidewater Tempest. Her story Flight was chosen for South Carolina's Petrogree Review in 2015. She's also published essays in the Philadelphia Inquirer and Beaufort's Lowcountry Weekly. She's a member of several writing groups and enjoys leading private writing workshops. She's also a past president of the Sage Society in Beaufort and serves on the board of the Beaufort Rowing Club. So everyone, please help me welcome Martha Weeks, aka MZ Thwaite.
Congratulations, Martha.
Thank you.
Yes,
you.
congratulations.
Yeah, the book, this one came out Tuesday, June 8th. So hot.
Can you hold it up again?
Oh, yeah.
Hold it up again there. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Edward Tempest. Sorry, my teeny little screen doesn't show it very well. Okay. So I'm going to read just a little bit from chapter 1. And this is basically sort of a conversation between two friends. 1991, tail end of summer, Atlanta, Georgia. The bead of sweat that rolled off the tip of Abby's nose plinked onto the blush pink envelope. The droplet splattered onto her husband's name dead center on the line above their address and bled the blue fountain pen ink like tie-dye on cotton. The envelope was small, note-sized, not letter-sized, like the bills that were addressed to him. Curious, she set the note aside on the kitchen counter, gave it a lingering look, and then thumbed through the rest of the mail she had just brought in. She tossed the junk into the trash can, then dropped the Georgia Power bill in a basket labeled bills under the wall phone. She went back to the letter, ran her fingers across the envelope. It was good stock, Crane and Company. There was no return address, but the ruined fluid script that said Thomas Clark, followed by Abby and Tom's address, looked to be written by a woman. Abby sniffed the paper. There was a light floral scent. Rose. She dropped the letter onto the counter where Tom liked for his mail to be left. He couldn't miss it. I wonder what that letter's about. She swallowed momentary queasiness. Sunlight reminiscent of an Arizona sunset played across the Mexican tile floor. Abby dropped her shoulder bag onto the sofa, then toed off black flats as soft as kidskin gloves. The floor felt warm underfoot, the air thick and stale, late summer air. She hated rooms artificially cooled well below the outside. The thermostat was set at 82 degrees. Outside it was 95, felt like 110. She flipped a wall switch. A ceiling fan moved, began a slow spin, and stirred the air. Abby removed wrapped items from a paper grocery bag and stuck them in the fridge. The wall phone rang. When she answered, the caller breathed into the receiver, then hung up. Abby glanced at the pink note on the counter, then returned the phone to its base. A yellow sticky note beside the phone fluttered to the floor. She picked it up and read, "I'm out of boxers again." It was signed Tom, like I wouldn't know. She crushed the note into a ball and tossed it in the trash on her way to the laundry room. The plastic basket on top of the washer spewed boxer shorts and white t-shirts. She tossed a load into the washer and closed the laundry room door on her way out. Heaven forbid the poor guy would have to go commando. Boxers had been an issue as long as she could remember. When she'd suggested that he might learn to operate the washer and dryer if he wasn't satisfied with the current laundry turnover, he'd gone out and bought a dozen more pairs. On her way to the stairs, Abby thought about the letter. Who's writing Tom's scented notes? She untied the sash to her wraparound dress, which she had dubbed a closing dress, like others she had designated for funerals and cocktail parties. The phone rang again when she got upstairs. She picked it up by the bed. Prepared for another breathy hang-up, she all but barked hello into the receiver. Well, hello. Bad day? It was Blix, born Elizabeth Alexander Stover, and dubbed Blix by Abby when they'd been in high school. Sorry, Blix, I had a hang-up right before you called, so I was ready to give it to somebody. What's going on? Abby pulled on shorts and grabbed a sleeveless denim shirt from a doorknob. Not much, Blix said. I went to the dentist this morning, so I feel like Joey Brown. Abby chuckled at the image of Brown, a thick-lipped, elastic-mouthed comedian from 50 or 60 years earlier. Blix was known for her quick wit. Since they'd grown up together, Abby knew she often used humor to deflect bad news. 6-month cleaning? Blix made no response, other than a strong exhale into the receiver. You still go to your uncle? Abby flopped into an upholstered chair, then watched a dust bunny drift across the wood floor. My uncle referred me to somebody. Specialist of some sort? Abby waited, and when Blix only offered a soft grunt, she let it go. But it hung in her brain like a to-do memo. So, any plans for the weekend? Nope, I've had shifts at the hospital all week, so I'll catch up on laundry. Whoop-dee-doo, doesn't that sound like fun? Abby thought. Abby thought about Tom's rather pointed boxer note. When you're finished there, you can come over here. I'm always behind. Time's in a boxer deficit. Doesn't he know how to run the washing machine? Fat chance. All you can do is try. I suppose you're going to King's Bluff for the long weekend? Every Labor Day for as long as I can remember and before, Abby said. Mama's parents were big fishermen, so that's how they spent the last weekend before school started, and it stuck. How about the boys? I dropped them at Mama's this morning. Tom will bring Mama and the boys on Friday. I'm going tomorrow to get the cottage ready. That'd be nice for the four of you to get away. This time, Abby paused. You're right. Tom and I need a break. We can use a little together time without work hanging over our heads. You ever thought about putting real estate on hold while your boys are small? Abby's cheeks puffed as she blew air. You been talking to Tom? No. Has it come up? On more than one occasion. I know I don't need to work anymore. That's not the point. Abby stood and walked over to a window. A yellow car drove slowly past the house. She moved around and watched it drive away. Do you ever think about when you were little? I mean, in the 50s? Blick said, sometimes. It was a different world back then. Abby said, I think about it a lot. Daddy worked, Mama took care of us, everybody was happy. Then one day, Daddy died. Boom. My whole world changed when I was 13 years old. Blix exhaled into the phone. One day life is one way, the next day it's another. Abby closed her eyes and remembered the jolt she'd felt her junior year in high school when she'd learned that Blix and 3 other close friends had been involved in a horrible car accident. Of course you know. My life changer was my father's early death. Life as you and I knew it turned upside down and we had to hit the reset button. Damn, don't I know it? They paused. But children are only small once. One day my boys were in diapers and the next they were snitching my razors. Oh, good grief, you are so far ahead of me. Yours shave and mine giggle while they have pissing contests in the toilet bowl. Abby glanced at the photograph of her 2 boys on the dresser. You don't need to remind me these years are precious. Tom does it all the time. Maybe you ought to listen to him. You can always go back to real estate after your 2 are in school. Let's not go there, Blix, okay? Trust me, I think about it. I also think about my mother suddenly becoming a single parent. Abby went to another window. The grass was neatly mown and edged in a healthy green, except for the spot where the neighbor's dog peed every morning. And you know what? Mama made sure our lives didn't change so much after Daddy died. We finished high school and college, and she carried the load. It wasn't until I was on my own that I appreciated the sacrifices she made for us. I had always taken my privileged, cushy little life for granted. Newsflash, pal, we all rode that magic carpet on our parents' tickets. But now that you're old and responsible and feel remorse for being young and oblivious, you want to make up for it. When did you get so smart? Abby asked. I want that good life for my family, like you and I had in the 50s. It was so uncomplicated. Hey, life is all about falling down. It's to getting up and giving it another go that's the hard part. All I'm saying is that with your boys, it's your choice. You like your independence. I get that. I just don't want you to kick yourself the day Jimmy heads to college and Walter isn't far behind and you realize you missed out how they got there. Think about it. Yes, ma'am. Abby took a deep breath. She thought about it a lot, and she knew her dogged determination stemmed from having watched her mother meet every obstacle life threw her way. I got my butt-headedness from my sweet mother, you know. Blix laughed. I think you got more than that from her. That's enough.
Excellent dialogue. Just
Thank you.
Great dialogue.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
wonderful dialogue.
Terrific.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where's your book available, Martha?
Well, to Amazon, and you know, it was published through Ingram Spark, so you should be able to get it anywhere.
Good.
Yep. So,
And you're available for signing, yes?
oh, absolutely. Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I love to do book clubs and things like that. So I hope to line some of those things up. I'm hopefully going to get, about 100 copies of my book and keep them on hand. So if I do a book club, I can actually take books with me.
You have a wonderful way of making the mundane fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Barry.
Yeah, I love that. I'm out of boxers signed Tom, like I wouldn't know. I love it. And by the way, I bet I'm the only one here who remembers who Joe E. Brown was.
Oh, I bet you're not.
I bet you're
I
not.
bet you're not.
I have no idea who he is. He had the biggest mouth in history.
He did.
Who was that?
And the hair, the slicked back hair.
Oh,
Right.
it was so funny.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Cokie Brown? Cokie Brown, is that what you said?
Joe.
Joe
E.
With a great huge mouth, he's real old guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's really old. Don't say it like that.
Catherine squinted her eyes. She's serious.
Actually, you have a wonderful reading voice. Just a
You're
terrific
right.
reading voice.
Anyway, Martha, congratulations. I know that was like going through like a 9-month pregnancy and delivery.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
It was. But it's done.
All right.
It was a different kind of experience this time.
Yeah.
I'd say you used 2020 pretty well.
I did.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the
Excellent, excellent.
whole lockdown and all that stuff, I don't know about y'all, but I did stuff that I had really put off doing for a long time.
Nice.
And got a publisher, and the rest
Yeah.
is history.
Good for you.
Wow.
So
Super.
thank you, Brooke and Jonathan.
So-
And Peanut
No,
Gallery.
thank you.
Peanut Gallery. Yay.
Thank you, Martha. That was an
Thank you,
incredible
Martha.
read.
Hope to see you at Low Country soon.
Yeah.
Our workshop. I hope to see you at our workshop again soon.
Yes.
Ah,
We're going to go live next time.
Good.
In
I like
person.
wild.
In person.
Woo-hoo.
Oh, we went wild a long time ago.
We've been
I mean,
wild.
No, Low
Live.
Country.
Live, not wild.
No, the Low Country workshop. It's been live for a few weeks, couple weeks. Except this time they couldn't get me in for some reason. They sent the password to this unknown address, and it went into spam and did all kinds of weird stuff. But it's been virtual. It's been live and virtual. They're doing both now. Well, you know that.
Yes.
You were there.
Yes.
So Martha, do you have any book signings set up already? Local book signings?
No, because I've sort of been waiting for the go ahead from my publishers. I'm sort of waiting for suggestions, being told what to do, which is kind of nice for once.
Yeah, that's nice.
Rather than having to blaze all my own trails.
I bet that is nice. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Must be. Yeah.
So.
That's great.
Will be.
Again, can't wait to
How
read.
did you get a publisher?
That was one of those things that I did while I was confined to quarters.
How'd you do that?
Queried him.
What?
Query letters.
Oh, query. Lots of them, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Only takes one.
That's true.
Yeah. There you go. That's good. So what was the length of the time between, like, when you wrote your other two, the prequels? How long did it?
The 2017, there were 2015, 2017, and then this one kept changing.
No, I mean length of time to press to actual book.
Well, I think I sort of found the publisher, and I got together, I think last August.
Oh, at all.
So it wasn't that long, but from then on, it was, I went through a series of his editors, had a design edit, a style edit, and a copy edit. So every time somebody would get his hands on it and take a look at it and send me pages of critique, then I would go back and rewrite. So I've been rewriting since last August.
Wow.
Wow.
It's changed quite a bit.
And the publisher gave you all these different editors, right?
Yes. They were his editors.
Do you have beta readers first, Martha?
I did. I had some readers at the begining. But what they read at the beginning is nothing like the way it turned out. But yes.
Yeah.
I had one or two of them read sort of like this is an advanced reader copy. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is a copy that I got like 24 of these and sent them out to readers recently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had some people read it at first and make suggestions, and y'all get a kick out of this. My sister read this and she said, "You don't pick collard greens in at the end of August." And I went, "I know that, but I have them picking collard greens, so that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life that I have collard greens being picked in August."
And that stayed in.
Well, yeah, because my sister just read the book and she goes, "You don't pick collard greens in August." And I went, "I wish you'd read this at the beginning."
None of the editors picked up on it either?
Nobody, even my readers, nobody. So
Did you have somebody who was really Southern?
Yes, a lot of them. A lot of them. But I figure it's like wearing a beautiful new pair of shoes and then you're walking down the street and you put your heel through the grate, and you mess up. It's the same thing. That is one of my faux pas in this book is my collard greens.
And the heel gets stuck and you can't get the shoe out.
And it ruins your brand new pair of shoes.
No matter what you do.
I'm not going to let those collard greens ruin this experience.
No, you must not.
I hate it when that happens with my high heels. I just hate it.
Collard greens are always a problem. Always.
Now, see, if everybody wore shoes like Jonathan's, you wouldn't have that problem.
That's true.
No high heels on high tops.
Never once stuck in a sewer grate. Never once.
True.
There was a rule in my office when the marketing director finished with the annual report and it got published. She said, "No one is allowed to show me any errors for at least a month."
Mm-hmm.
So, we kept track and we marked them and had our things sitting aside, but she didn't want to know about it for at least a month because she wanted to just enjoy that it was done.
Yes.